There, Francois. We're going to start in the European telecoms market. The mobile network operator Vodafone has agreed to buy the Spanish cable company ONO. The value of that deal is 7.2 billion euros, and I suppose you can call it the deal of the day here in Europe. Vodafone is paying for a company with nearly 2 million customers. It's hoping to create a challenger in the home market of Spanish rival Telefónica. The deal is seen as another example of the ongoing consolidation in the European telecoms industry. It's Vodafone's third major purchase of fixed-line broadband assets in just 2 years' time. Now, that consolidation is also seen to be happening right here in France. The billionaire behind the cable company Numericable has come out to defend its bid for mobile network operator SFR. SFR's parent company Vivendi decided on Friday to enter exclusive talks with Numericable. That decision was seen to fly in the face of the French government, as Carl Brown now explains.
Moves towards building a French telecoms giant are underway, with Numericable and its parent company Altice in exclusive talks with Vivendi.
What we are building here is a champion, a national champion, by bringing together two magnificent companies with different histories but which are very complementary.
Cable group Numericable forecasts savings of more than 1 billion euros per year from a merger with Vivendi's SFR unit. Drahi pledged to invest 3 billion euros in France's telecom sector and create jobs in France. The assurance follows concerns raised on Friday by Industry Minister Arnaud Montebourg about whether the small company could take on the comparatively large debt load with the purchase. Montebourg also highlighted concerns over the structure of Numericable's parent company, Altice, and its CEO, Patrick Drahi.
He owns cable operations in several European countries, but he has a holding company in Luxembourg. He has shares through Guernsey. The company is listed in Amsterdam and he lives in Switzerland, so he'll have to show his tax patriotism.
On Monday, Drahi shot back.
It is already certain that I will invest 3 billion euros in France, which seems to me is an already massive repatriation. If all investors in the French market repatriate all their capital to France, I will do the same tomorrow morning.
While Patrick Drahi said he and his family would continue to live in Switzerland, Altice's subsidiary Numericable is listed and headquartered in France, as would be any new merged SFR Numericable entity.
Let's move on now to the financial angle of one of our top stories. Stock markets are taking Western sanctions against Russia and Russian interests in their stride. Russia's main stock market index closed with an almost 4% gain on Monday. It comes after the European Union and the United States slapped travel bans and asset freezes on Russian and Ukrainian officials. The EU's list included 21 individuals and the US list 11 individuals. There was relief in the markets as the sanctions targeted a small group of people and not wider Russian economic interests.
I don't have any data about how much money the individual oligarchs have in Germany or in London. At the end of the day, these are economic pinpricks which are meant to hit the political surroundings, so the personal surroundings of Putin. It would also mean problems like, for example, travel restrictions for individual oligarchs, for the relatives who can no longer go shopping, etc. But for the economy as a whole, these are only really pinpricks.
As the EU applies sanctions, it appears to be business as usual, though, between Russian and European firms. Shares in RWE have been trading higher after it said it wants to sell off its oil and gas exploration business. Germany's biggest power producer also wants to sell its production division in a deal valued at 5.1 billion euros. The buyer is Letter One Group, which is linked to the Russian billionaire Mikhail Friedman and his Alpha Group. Meanwhile, Russian oil company Rosneft is expanding its footprint in Western Europe. It's struck a deal with Italian investors, which gives it a 13% indirect stake in tyre maker Pirelli. The agreement makes Rosneft the single biggest shareholder in the world's fifth biggest tyre maker. Let's take a closer look now at the state of play in the stock markets. In the United States this hour, there are gains pretty much across the board, as you can see here, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average up around about 8%. It appears that investors, they're not expecting a major fallout of the Russian standoff with the West. Also in the United States, a higher than expected reading of industrial output for February is helping out the markets. Now, earlier in Europe, the indices also closed with gains. Shares in Vodafone gained 1.7% in London on the news of its deal with Ono in Spain. The CAC 40 was up at the close, as you can see right there. We're just going to finish up with a market note as well, and these images from New York earlier at the open. Kermit the Frog was picked to ring the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange this St. Patrick's Day. I suppose it's a green theme in the markets and a green theme of the New York Stock Exchange as Kermit the Frog rang the bell. It came in connection with the launch of a new Muppets movie. I'm not so interested in it myself, I suppose, but perhaps you parents out there are. Who knows? And with that, I'm going to send it back to Francois. Are you interested in the Muppets?
Could be, but I see those traders on the floor. They've seen it all, haven't they? They were at the opening bell rings. They're not interested in Kermit anymore.
Well, you know, who knows? Maybe they got interested this time around.
Many thanks, Marcus Carlson. It's time for all the day's sports, and we're pleased to welcome Dan Lee.